JupiterX versus JupiterXm. Fight!
Hey everyone, Robert of Jupiter Expert here. As you may have seen in a video a few days ago, I just purchased the full-size JupiterX. Now that I've had a few days to play with it, I wanted to do a video talking about my first impressions, why I made the decision to go ahead and get an X now, and how I feel it compares to my JupiterXm. This is really going to be a talky video, probably no music, no tutorial. But there haven't been a lot of chances for reviewers to talk about both of them at the same time. And I thought it might help those who are on the fence about whether to buy one of them, which one to choose, or if you already have one, whether or not to consider switching or keeping both. So, a bit of background first. I first saw the JupiterXm when Roland brought it to KnobCon in September 2019, and I was really intrigued with it. I pre-ordered it immediately, and it arrived in November. I knew the X was coming, but the XM, the price was right, and it was going to be available nearly 6 months ahead of the X. And for that, it turns out I've been really grateful to really get a jump start on learning it. My space to play at the time was pretty small, not very private. It was off of the living room and shared with the Mini Moog, System 8, Novation Peak, and a rotating cast of other gear. But late last year, I decided that I wanted a better space, so I moved it all to this slightly larger room in the basement. I finally got a powerful iMac that would be up to the task of running Roland Cloud and recording the XM via USB and making videos like these. It's still a very small space, but it's well suited for making music, and as you can see, I've filled it with things that inspire me. Most important is that I can lock the Chihuahuas and the Sphinx cats out. About 2 months ago, though, I decided that I needed to focus more on actual music skills. So I got a new digital piano and resumed lessons and practice for the first time in many years. So full-size keys, started to become a lot more important to me. But I'd also felt increasingly this disconnect between my setup, which was the JupiterXm and a Novation controller that had the full-size keys and aftertouch and all that. And then also at the same time, I was feeling this weird burden about all the synths and gear that I had that still didn't fit into this room, and even if it did, I wasn't using it. So I decided that the controller had to go, and that gave me room to consider the X. And I sold a ton of gear that wasn't being used over the past few months, so whatever I was going to get was going to be paid for. Roland is having a big cash back rebate right now until the end of June. Sweetwater was having 48-month financing in May, so it was all this. It was just a matter of good timing that seemed like, well, if you want to get a JupiterX, you should do it now. I did consider other synths that I could now afford, like a Moog 1 or Polybrute or one of the new sequential prophets. And since I already had the XM and Roland Cloud and Zenology Pro, I considered, should I add something entirely new? But the fact is that, I've done so much with my XM and I'm really comfortable with it. I think it stands up extremely well to any other modern synth currently on the market. I didn't want a new experience. I just wanted what I'd hoped would be a better experience. And I'm really happy with the path that Roland has, been taking with the Jupiters and the Zen Core platform in general. I love all the tools and sounds available in Roland Cloud. The firmware updates to the Jupiter platform over the past year have really, made it, close to being my dream synthesizer. And the introduction of the new jupiterx XM editor does, so much to enhance my sound design, workflow and capabilities. And gives me a lot more incentive to dig deeper into advanced sound and scene design. I already know that a Jupiter is going to be, my own future classic, a lifetime synth. It's the reason that so much of the other gear that wasn't getting used was able to go, and I didn't have any regrets about it. So again, it was all about good timing and the ability to make the leap. I point out all this TMI just to be clear that I didn't get the X because I think the XM is a lesser synth. It's just that my own needs and options had changed to finally be able to consider it. So what do I think of the X? It's wonderful. That connection that I felt was missing, it's gone. When I play the Jupiter-X, the world around me disappears. It's immersive, like a really great video game. It'll take me a week or so to get as familiar with the X's controls and layout as I am with the XM. But I haven't had to glance at the manual once. I love the keys and the aftertouch feels and sounds much more responsive than what I was using before. If you get the XM UI and UX, the buttons and controls of the X do feel very natural and well positioned. I do miss where my exit button and a few other controls are as compared to where they are on the XM, but muscle memory will build and kick in soon enough. In all, I just feel more bonded to the X as an instrument than the XM when playing. Much in the same way I feel when I'm playing the Mini Moog above it. The Jupiter just feels more right side of the brain to me than left side. Sort of like the difference between painting versus assembling a puzzle. There are not, in my opinion, any huge advantages when it comes to scene, part, tone, navigation. Those challenges still exist. The controls aren't that much different, and there are not that many more of them despite the extra real estate. The X's sliders are nice and the extra wheels will certainly come in handy. But it's not so big a difference as to no longer be happy that Roland released an editor. I thought the display of the Jupiter-X being off to the left side instead of dead center was going to bother me. But I was surprised. It's turned out to be completely a non-issue. The distance looks more intimidating in pictures and videos, but when I'm right in front of the Jupiter-X, I have no problem with the placement of the menu at all. The speakers are no different. I do use the speakers for quickies and even at low levels in addition to my studio monitors. They seem strangely incongruous with the X, but I added a subwoofer and that actually makes a huge difference when used with the X speakers. Otherwise, I run XLR out to my Focusrite audio interface, USB directly to the Mac, but I still have the speakers to use if I want to get up and running quickly. I've probably got more tweaking I want to do with audio and monitoring overall, but I am running out of space and power outlets and money. I've said elsewhere in the past that I puzzled over Roland's decision to not diversify more the X and the XM. I thought that the XM perhaps should have been geared more toward entry-level enthusiasts who really appreciated the presets, and the X towards pros who might not need or want things like IARP or speakers, perhaps wanted more memory. Now that I've used both, I can admit that I was wrong. I honestly feel that neither is better than the other. All the power of the synths is equally accessible in either one of them. And actually we're fortunate to have the choice between the two just based on personal needs, space, finances. A circle is not better than a square, and for most of us, only one of those is going to fit the space in our setup and our budget and so on. So don't run out and put yourself into a bind to get an X if you already have an XM, or could only afford an XM and feel that you need to stretch, for an X. There's no doubt the X is a fine instrument, and it should be for $1,000 more. But it doesn't change all the things that I've done and still have yet to do with my XM that make me happy and proud. Which brings me to my last point. I'll be keeping both the X and the XM because they serve different requirements for me. Just like I sometimes use Zenology Pro when it's best suited for, the task at hand. I've enjoyed doing these tutorials, intend to keep doing them, and the XM fits really nicely on a video screen, and it makes it, really suited for that. But at the same time, it's always bugged me that I wasn't able to demonstrate some things on a Jupiter-X because there's just enough difference in navigation between the two that it's nearly impossible to show some concepts for everyone on the same synth. So that's why you'll still see the XM behind me, and you'll continue to see it and the new X in videos in the future. I also have another project that I'm considering that will be best served by having both, but more on that another time. Now, do you need both? I think that's going to be rare. If you love the Jupiter and are out on the road or hit the stage, there's no doubt that the more portable XM is going to be easier to deal with. The X is as large and as heavy as you think it is. It's a real throwback in build and quality and weight to the Jupiters of old. Maybe you think you want twice the sound, and that's why you might consider both. But I would say this. If you haven't already, you should really check out Roland Cloud and Zenology Pro. If you have a suitably powerful PC, Roland Cloud is a great value proposition to get those extra tones. Zenology Pro is very slick, and it's a great way to organize and design sounds. This new jupiterx editor is a great way to more easily design scenes and do some sound design in tones while directly connected to your Jupiter. And the Roland music making ZenBeats software, it's been getting better with every release. It makes a great sequencer and recorder for your Jupiter synth. So, think about where you want to put your money. I think that covers my immediate thoughts and impressions. If you have any questions, put them below in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them. As for the future, there will be more and hopefully better and more complete tutorials coming soon. I think I'm going to do one or two more of the back to basics type tutorials, specifically on scene and part navigation on both synths, and then another on using effects. So hit that subscribe button to get alerted to those videos when they go up. That's it. Thanks for watching, and until later, be seeing you.